is Allie, and I'm the host of Funny Fat Friend, a podcast about this bodacious biracial babe trying to find herself in film. As you can tell from the title of this episode, your girl is trying out something different. So on top of this podcast, I have a YouTube channel with my roommate. It's called Could Be Worse. If you are already subscribed, you better subscribe. We also have a Patreon. What up? Hey. Okay. I also have a full-time job, and I've started coaching and volunteer with Protesters Weekly, and I can't keep up. So, y'all, I had a little brainstorm and came up with this bi-weekly mini-show concept that I'm calling Dope Ass Rex. I think it's pretty good. Okay. Let me tell you about it. Okay, so this show will come out in between full-length episodes because those are a hell of a time commitment, bitch, and we need a buffer. So, in this show, I'll be giving you my latest and greatest film recommendations. This week, there'll be newer releases, 2 old goodies, and a weekly wild card. I might continue that format. I might not. This is experimental. Everything could change all the time. I could never make another of these. We'll see. But hopefully this shit slaps, and let me know if you're into it. If you're not, you know how to hit the stop button, okay? And you can skip these. Great. Okay, let's jump in. Let me tell you about 2 newer films that have come out that I highly recommend. The first one is going to be from 2020. They're both from 2020. Spoiler. The first one will be First Cow. I have talked about this film a lot with just like personal friends. I posted about it on Instagram stories for my like most memorable of 2020 films. It came out in 2020, surprise, wow. It was distributed by A24. It's about friendship, delicious food, and cows. What more could you need? I'll wait. That's right, you don't need anything else. Should I make this like a Dora type podcast? Would you all enjoy that if I put in pauses for you to respond to me, even though I can't hear you? Let's try. What movie from 2020 did you really like that was about friendship? Wow. Shit, that cracked me up. I'm dumb. Okay. Back to First Cow. It's based on a novel that I would really like to read, but it's out of print. So if anybody has it, let me borrow it, please. It's not called First Cow. I should have written down the name of it, but I looked it up to try and find like copies of it. But I found one, it was like $40 on eBay, and I was like, nah, I'm not doing that. But if somebody just has it and they want to let me borrow it, that would be cool. The director, Kelly Reichardt, has adapted this author's works with them before. His name is John Raymond. So you can look him up and you'll find the book. It's his first like full-length novel. He did a series of short stories that's also in a book that is, she adapted a couple of those as well into films. And she has an entire series of films that just take place in Oregon, which this one takes place in Oregon during the like gold rush. And it's about 2 people who definitely never would have met in any other circumstance than, the wild diversity that was the gold rush. So yeah, I think it's really, really interesting, like the cultural meshing of these different characters coming together in a very raw, rugged place that is like untamed Oregon, which Oregon is very much like beautiful wilderness still, and that is very lovely about it. But yeah, it's this lovely, and it's about different types of friendship too. It's not just human bonding, but bonding with other things cows, mayhaps. Also, this director edits her own films, which is so fucking incredible. She like co-wrote, directed, and edited this film herself. I don't even edit this podcast. Technically, I edit it myself, and by editing it myself, I don't do anything to it. So, and I'm exhausted. So I can't imagine. And it's so lovely, and a lot of the people in like reviews about it that I've seen, that I've perused, talk about her style is very like minimalistic, which I'm not so sure. Minimalism is such like a hot button word, I think, right now. Just like people like using it, and it's because it confuses me all the time, because I think of minimalism as like more of a philosophical like thing, of almost like a religious type of way of living your entire life, rather than just like an aesthetic, is more how I see minimalism. But I do understand like there's like literal just like minimizing the amount of things, but I don't see this film as that. There's so much lush about it that I don't, in my brain it doesn't really work to call it like minimalist. Maybe minimalist in the way that she made it. Maybe she didn't have like much equipment. It is just like a couple people that are on screen at any time, but like everything going on is so full and even like overgrown. It just, what's happening between everyone in the movie is mirrored in the nature, in my mind. So I don't call it minimalist, but I'm down to have conversations. I'd love for somebody to like explain their point of view if they do think it's minimalist to me. I'd love to have that convo. So if you do, hit me up. All right, great. So that's First Cow. Highly recommend. I'm gonna highly recommend them all. Get ready to hear that. My second of the newer releases, Kajillionaire. Also 2020. Also, two people who may listen to the podcast. Well, I think they do. They do listen to the podcast. They're my friends. Well, one person I watched both of these movies with. And then the other, maybe he got to watch this. I hope he did. He's been on, and he sometimes texts me. Text me if you got to see this and you think it's you. So I'm not going to call you out. But yeah, Kajillionaire. Also from 2020. And I've talked about it a lot as well on the internet and to my friends. And I actually got to see this in the theater. Like, this was the only movie I got to see in the theater. Well, no, I saw Spaceballs in the theater during the last, since March of last year. Because the last film I saw in the theater before the pandemic, before like things started shutting down in Kentucky, was Sonic the Hedgehog. I saw it on Valentine's Day by myself with a bunch of dads and their kids, and it was really fun. It was the best, honestly. I don't think I could have hoped for a better film to leave the theater on. But I'm being like very serious. It was super fun. I had a really wonderful time. It was a great cinematic experience. Highly recommend that. Highly recommend. But yes, I got to see Kajillionaire in the theater. It was super good. And I saw Spaceballs in the theater, and it was not as super good. But I am glad that I've seen it now. We can talk about that another time. Cool. It's written and directed by Miranda July, and her debut film was Me and You and Everyone We Know, which was my first foray into like indie films. And I saw it the year after it came out in 2016. It came out in 2005. Yeah. And I was 13. And I remember it because I asked to see it. I'm pretty sure I remember asking like my mom to rent it for me, or maybe my grandparents to rent it for me, because I really wanted to see it. It was the first like weird indie film. I saw a trailer for it on like YouTube, like old ass YouTube. And I wanted to see it really bad. And that was the first indie film I ever saw. And that was the beginning of the woman you see and know now. So I do owe Miranda July a lot of my love for film. And she this, yeah. She holds up. She is unbelievably talented. This film was hilarious. I cried. I laughed. I was nervous. I was so uncomfortable. I get really bad secondhand embarrassment. And there is several moments, but a lot of the times I see TV shows and things use secondhand embarrassment to make people laugh really easily because we laugh at what makes us uncomfortable. It's just a gut reaction. It's less of that reaction for me. It just makes me want to leave. But she did it in this really beautiful way that was embarrassing, but humanized more. You empathized with these characters, so you were less embarrassed for them. I guess you wanted to help them and not run away from the situation. And that invoking empathy in film is so difficult, because there is almost nothing about these characters, just the way it's built, the structure of it, of oh yeah, I identify with it. This was just, yeah, you got to learn about them so quickly and so wholly that it sent me there. It's so beautiful and so funny. It is, yeah, it's the funniest film definitely that I watched last year, that came out last year, without a doubt. And there were lots of movies that tried to be funny. Because, yeah, laughter during the pandemic was difficult, but this did it. The acting was beyond exceptional and wild. Evan Rachel Wood, what a dynamic woman she is, really. I don't think I've ever seen anything I didn't like her in, and I've seen her in a lot of things. Man, yeah, my grandma checked me out of school early in high school so that we could drive to Lexington to watch Across the Universe because I wanted to see it really bad. And she's obviously in that. And yeah, that was the moment I fell in love with her, was in that. Not just because she's unbelievably beautiful, but man, the talent. Wow. Okay, so Kajillionaire. See it, do it right now. It's an Annapurna picture, which people often mistake for A24. So you people who are like, you're just talking about A24 movies. No, fuck off. No, I'm not. But they have worked together a lot. A24 distributed Spring Breakers and 20th Century Women for Annapurna. So, and I found out Annapurna is one of the it's a mountain. Yeah, I don't remember. I watched a little thing about the creator of Annapurna, and she is very interesting. That should be a movie. I'm not gonna make it, but somebody should if you listen to this. And make it. Alright, cool. Now we're gonna talk about some old goodies. The first one I'm gonna recommend they're not gonna be that old either. Neither of these are very old at all, so I guess I shouldn't have even called it older goodies. Well, I called it older goodies. So yeah, they're older than now. The first is Popstar, Never Stop, Never Stopping. It's from 2016, and it's becoming a cult hit, I think. I don't think it's quite at cult hit status, but it definitely deserves a popular love. It's a phenomenal mockumentary by the Lonely Island guys. They did it. And it's very smart and very ridiculous. It's so goofy and wholesome and outrageous, which is three things that you can't usually imagine together, but that they are so tapped into doing so well. And if you just want to watch something that's going to make you laugh, for sure, put it on. It's so good. And it came out at the heyday of the music documentaries, the biopics, which are still happening. right? What, 2 years ago we had the Elton John Rocket Man and we had Queen. I don't even remember the name of that one. I didn't like it. But I can't even remember the name of that. What was that one even about? It was about Freddie Mercury, but what was it called? I don't know. Bohemian Rhapsody. Name of their most famous. But yeah, so these things are still being made, but it is so good. It's so hilarious. Watch it. If you need a good laugh, do it. I just full on like bought it because I couldn't find it on any streaming platforms. So I just bought it. And I do not regret that purchase at all. My second recommendation for the older goodies is going to Be Kind Rewind. It came out in 2008, and it definitely flew under the radar. I remember, yeah, this was also one that I had to like scrounge to find when I was a kid. And I wanted it so bad because I was so obsessed, which I think I'm still pretty obsessed with Mos Def. And I think that's right, and I should be, and I think everyone should be. Mos Def is such a perfect being in my mind. I'm sorry, if he's done anything scary, let me know so that I can have a better educated image of him. But man, he's a prolific artist, like phenomenal music maker, great. And then he's also so pretty to look at. And then he's also really good at acting. A lot of people, what they've seen him in that they will remember is Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. He's Ford in it. But yeah, he has this film with Jack Black. It's him and Jack Black are the stars. And he works at a movie rental that's like going under, and Jack Black is his weird friend, and they come up with this weird scheme to get it back on its feet by making their own little films. And it's so wholesome and gorgeous. I rewatched it a couple times this last year, and I also purchased it because I loved it. And yeah, it's just, it taps into nostalgia. Even like films, they do so many famous films and things like that they hint to, but even if you don't know what they were, like I watched it once with someone who does not watch films very much, and he even had a great time, which is how quirky and odd and goofy it was. And just, yeah, they're able to make homemade look like the MoMA, right? Like, it's, yeah, adding this beauty, this lens of purity to, I don't know, yeah, to like commercial filmmaking that I really, really like. And I highly recommend it. Great. Now for the wild card. This isn't technically a movie or a film, and I guess that's why it's a wild card in my mind. But it's going to be Dr. Horrible's Sing-Along Blog, which came out in 2008. And it was made during the 2007-2008 Writers Guild strike that happened. If anybody remembers, all of your favorite shows stopped for a while. And that's because the writers were striking for better rights. It was written by, like, all of the Whedons. So, Joss Whedon, Zach Whedon, Jed Whedon. And then also Marissa Tancheron, which she is married to Joss Whedon, so a Whedon by marriage. But she is independently phenomenal herself. It stars Neil Patrick Harris, Nathan Fillion, and Felicia Day, and it came out online. It was like this digital miniseries that came out like on the website, and you paid for it, and you got to see the episodes of it on the website. And my English teacher, my high school English teacher, told me about it when it was happening, and we watched it. And it's a musical, and I still will sing several of the songs. One of them is called Laundry Day, and when I do laundry, I literally sing it to myself still, and it's so lovely. So the music is really good. It's really funny, and it's really, it's pretty gripping. Honestly, it's a great torch to the art of writing and how impactful and important that is, because this had a shoestring budget. They had like no money and they made this thing, and that was kind of the point too, is that they made this beautiful thing with like no money. So just like proving that like, hey, this is such a valuable piece of what we do is the writing, and you can like, even with no money, the writing can make this thing and make this great. And you need us, so help us. So highly recommend. I feel like you can probably watch it all maybe somewhere online still. I own it. I bought like a DVD copy that came out like a few years after, and it has Commentary the musical, where all the writers like sing the commentary for the entire thing. It's really amazing. So that's like the most fun use of like behind the scenes or like special features I've ever seen a movie have. All right, cool. Those are my dope ass recs. Let me know if you enjoyed this, and if you don't, leave me alone because I do not care. I'll be back next week with a new full-length episode. We're diving into the super world, so get ready for that. As always, I've been your friendly neighborhood fat friend, Allie. I haven't thought of anything like funny to end these with. So how about like you just got wrecked. So stupid. Alright, I'll talk at you next time. Bye.